So here we are at day 4. I have printed 3 photos of the stockings because on day 4 I got the mantle and the stockings finished. I did black and white, added some buffalo check ribbon and little initials to my aqua stockings, so I thought I'd just feature that for day 4. I have a 4x6 photo and a pocket that has 4x6 and 2 3x4s from Simple Stories. So that one's super easy, just slip that one in there. Okay, I like those kind. I have another photo to print for this day, so I'm going to work on how I'm adding the number here. Might add these two together, but I might not. Let's see. Okay. I have to make sure my printer for some reason does not evenly distribute the photos, so I have to always turn the right one, but that's okay. So mostly I could go with black and white because that's all that's in this photo is black and white, the white marble, and the aqua. So I could either highlight the aqua or just highlight some of the greenery. I have a little scrap piece, so I want to try stamping the number on this. Oh wait, no, I do have... Okay, I'm going to stamp a 4 and see how that looks. There's this really nice outline and filled in set, the large Jane number stamp from Elle Studio that I could try. Okay, you guys can see that I used that large Jane stamp that I'm showing you right here from Elle Studio. I like that it has the outline and the punctuation. So I decided to stamp a solid black number 4 only because I'm going to have a picture of my boots in the rain on the wet asphalt, which will be really dark, so I wanted to add some more of the black. So I'm trying to decide where to place these cards. I made a DIY card by just using the Elle Studio stamp around the house at the top of that. So I'll just journal on that with computer journaling. And I want to add some mixed media into this mix by adding the modeling paste on the vellum there to create another DIY card. So I'm taking the acetate heart in the aqua color from Elle Studio here, trying to decide which one to use. But I like the aqua because it repeats the color of the stockings. So I'm trying to decide how I want to add the number 4. And so I'm just going to fussy cut these and add them to the heart and different textures. So I have the clear see-through acetate, I have the texture of the modeling paste, I have the texture of the vellum, which is kind of, you know, semi-translucent. And so I want to add a lot of different textures just because I don't have a lot of color and pattern going on in this layout or in this double page pocket page spread. And so that's one of the old design school tricks, is if you're using a lot of neutrals, if you're not using color and pattern to create interest, you can add interest by adding lots of texture. So you'll notice, like for farmhouse style, if you have different textures like this, the marble in the photo and then the furry letters and the velvet of the stockings and the greenery, so there's lots of different textures even though there's not a lot of variety in color. So I'm trying to repeat that on this vellum 3x4 card, and I'm going to decide which of these puffy stickers from Elle Studio I want to add, because that'll again add a different texture. So you have the puffy sticker texture on top and just creating lots of layers and interest. And now I've decided I also want to add that Deck the Halls label. So here is where I'm going to decide. I probably want to cut out the insides of those, the white inside of the 0 and the 4. So I've printed my other photo, the photo that I talked about earlier, the rain boot photo on the wet asphalt. So here in the desert, it's pretty funny. When you live in Vegas and hardly ever get rain, people actually, when it rains, they'll go outside on their porch and they'll look at like, what is this wet stuff from the sky? It's hilarious. So us desert rats always like go look at the sky when it's raining and take photos like, look, it's wet stuff. It's just funny. So now I'm going to use the Jane alphabet stickers from Elle Studio and a T-square to kind of create my own Photoshop lettering look. So I'm going to add the letter stickers directly to the photo because I like that wet asphalt. It gives a lot of contrast for the white stickers. And I'm trying to decide, do I want to start with the A and the I in the center? Like sometimes I'll just, if it's a short word, you can start with the first letter, but I'm like, nah, I usually don't do very well with just guessing the center, so I'm going to measure it and add the A and the I starting with the middle. I kind of put the halfway point in between the A and the I, and then I'll add the N and then the R, and that way it'll kind of be centered. And then I'm like, wait, is this how you spell rain? This doesn't look right. It's funny when you put stuff in all capital letters, it doesn't look like it's spelled right. So you'll see me break out my phone just to check the spelling of rain. I'm like, seriously, what is with my brain lately? And that tends to happen to me. You'll see later in my journaling. I like the wow, squirrel moment. Yeah, there I am. I broke up my phone to check the spelling on that since it didn't look right. But anyway, moving on. I've got the puffy number 4, and I was thinking of adding it here, but I didn't really like, I needed something smaller. So that's when I get the idea I can add. I'm going off camera to find what I can add here. I want to add a puffy sticker to that photo of the rain. And then I decide, oh, you know what? One of these puffy hearts would be perfect. So I grabbed the black one just because, once again, neutral here. So I'm going to add that in between, like a halfway point in between my boots and the title rain. So that kind of looks cool directly on the photo. I do like adding things directly to photos. So now what I'm trying to decide is, do I want to add like a 3x8? I like when people add different size pockets, and then I'm like, well, I could add the snow and cocoa little puffs. So I'm trying to decide what do I want to add here that would add some more texture to the layout. So then I move on. I'll just, if I don't know what to do, then I'll move on to what I do know what to do, and that's add some stuff to this vellum card. So what we're going to do is use a X-Acto knife to cut out the center of those numbers by hand here, so that's pretty easy. And I really like how everyone is sharing in the community, and like I said, I was inspired by Tazhiana and her Precisely Tazi on Instagram, and so I love how she's been doing this storytelling and journaling. She's amazing at journaling, so I wanted to kind of follow that and I was inspired by her, so that's why I really wanted to, even though my story was hard, and sometimes I get stuck like that. I don't know if you guys do that as well, but if it's a hard story or if it's emotional, I just want to skip it. So that's, it took me about 6 days to recover. That's why I haven't posted anything after I hung up these stockings. So I have to realize that each year this is a hard thing for me. It might be hard for me, but not necessarily hard for my kids. So I need to just go ahead and do it, and then I'll have to take time to recover every year after I do the stockings. And that's just learning to, give myself a little bit of grace and realize that it's okay that this is hard. Everybody has hard things they have to deal with in their life. So I'm just going to have to, suck it up here and realize that it is hard and take some time to recover from that. So now that I've got the center of the numbers cut out, I'm going to bring it back and try to decide, okay, so I need to add the puffy stickers. And at first I was going to add a big die cut, and then I'm like, no, you know what? This little puffy sticker stocking is perfect because the scale is a little bit better for the smaller card. So I'm trying to decide, where do I want to place these? Do I want to kind of center everything around that heart? And that's what I finally decide, is that, yeah, I want everything to be touching the acetate heart in the background, and to kind of create a cluster of embellishments here. So it's kind of fun to do that, because this is kind of freeing, you know, you're just kind of playing and having fun with your supplies and being inspired by the products from Elle Studio to create a different little kind of embellishment cluster in the pockets. So then I'm out of staples. I've been using the tiny attacher quite a lot in this December daily, so I'm already out of staples here. There we go. I'm just trying to figure out how, when it's been a long time since you've added staples into it, it's like, do they go up or down? How do they go? Okay, so I'm just folding that back over. I think it's right now. And now I'm just going to use the tiny attacher to adhere everything to the vellum, since you can see adhesive through the vellum on the back side. And I'm not going to cover the back like the other side of the pocket. Once you turn the page, I'm not going to cover the back of the vellum with another card, so it will be see-through. That's why I'm just going to use the tiny attacher to attach everything. I'm just letting you guys know the thinking behind that, or why I'm only using the tiny attacher, and that's why, just because the adhesive. So it is a fun way to attach your items, like the acetate, since it's clear. I really like attaching that with either stitching or the staples. So that 4 is kind of moving around, so I'm trying to get it straight, and then I just staple both the 0 and the 4 together, so that'll kind of hold it. Now that I've printed my journaling, I'll read you out loud the journaling. Decking the halls with black and white houses and aqua stockings is now accompanied by simultaneously 2 parts sweet and 1 part bitter heartache. I try to focus on the fact that I have 4 stockings to fill, and not the fact that there are 4 instead of 5. It is like an inner dance in my head, wanting to remember and also wanting to shield my heart from the hurt. Will I one day be able to place the stockings and not long for days gone by? Until then, it is a silent push and pull of hurt alongside healing, one tiny step at a time. Which kind of goes with the fact that it's stockings like feet. So I wanted to also add this little pink, because I don't know that I'll have another place to add pink. So since there's just aqua, I thought it'd be nice to kind of stitch around the whole thing, but add one of these puffy hearts from Elle Studio. And I just use the grid mat here. And that I'm thankful that Tazhiana, or precisely Tazi, shares her journaling, because that's what inspired me to try to improve my journaling and storytelling with the storytelling class I'm taking from Tiffany Lowder with the Scrap Gals podcast. She has a class that's called Documenting Your Difficult Stories. So usually I just avoid this. I skip this. So this is probably why I've only ever made it to probably day 6 of December Daily, because there's a lot of hard things that come along with that kind of loss. So I don't want to make anyone sad. Like I don't want to cause people to have sadness, because we already have enough to deal with in our holidays. So I usually don't journal about anything, but that's not true to my story. So I'm sure you guys have things that hurt alongside things that are joyful as well. So I was inspired by, and I'll link her in the description box below. So I was inspired by her to just tell my story, and maybe someone can relate to that as well. And so this is day 4. I added an acetate heart, and I stamped these with the Felicity Jane stamps, the filled in stamps, and I added a puffy hearts, the puffy sticker stocking and the hearts, and then stapled most of these things on because this is on vellum. So this card, I just use modeling paste and a stencil to apply it to some vellum, just to give some lightness to this, since there's some heavy elements with the kind of the journaling, and also the rain photo is very dark, so there's lots of black and white though. Okay, so that's day 4. Thanks for joining me. Bye.